So with time management, procrastination is definitely the killer of productivity. And when it comes to time management, there's no secret formula or a life hack. You just have to get it done. I think it's about knowing what works best for you. Sometimes people work better during the day, sometimes people work better during the evening. And you're entitled to a personal life, so maybe as simple as timetabling, research writing in the morning, or seminar work in the afternoon.
So in terms of time management, even though I definitely didn't start my dissertation late, I was quite organised with it, I didn't start writing quickly enough. So I sort of, for a few months, was just reading and just trying to collect all the information and keep it in my head, but not actually really writing anything down on the paper because I was being a bit of a perfectionist. And so it sort of meant that I actually ended up writing quite late, and I also started trying to sort of perfect one section before moving on to the next. So I would say in the back of that then, a good time management tip would be to try and avoid being too much of a perfectionist on any one part and just start doing section by section, even if you put all the headings on the paper, and then just fill bits in, even if it's just bullet points, just because if you can kind of try and spend a bit more of an equal amount of time on each bit, then you won't sort of have one section that's really good and one section that's kind of letting the rest of it down.
One of the main mistakes I made when it came to my project was underestimating the amount of time that it would take. So if you're collecting data and things, that is very time consuming. Waiting for your ethics form to come back and be approved, typing up all your data and analysing it was also really challenging.
The main mistake I think I would made is that I underestimated how quickly final year went. So in semester 2 I made a plan and stuck to it. So for example, I set a deadline by at which point I knew I needed to have all my data collected by which point I wanted to finish writing my first chapter, etc.
Time management wise, I assumed that things like the field work and the lab work and the data analysis would go more smoothly than it did. And I'd budgeted all this time for writing up, and actually in the end that was the thing that took the least time. So I was surprised by, I guess, some of the things that always go wrong, I now know, in those kinds of projects. And I also overestimated how productive I could be in any single day, and I think a lot of people do that. So I learned quite quickly that I had to work in smaller and shorter bursts to get it done.
I think I was perhaps a bit optimistic when it came to time management. Actually factoring in time for like the binding, you don't actually think, well, this is a deadline, but then you kind of got to work backwards and think this is how long it'll take to get bind and things like that. And you know, just kind of actually reviewing your plan along the way. So even if you kind of start off with a Gantt chart and think, okay, this is how things are going to progress, if when you're midway through you actually go back to it and think, am I still on track, do I need to make changes and things like that, and just kind of like discussing with your supervisor what you can do in the time that's remaining.